It's time to sit back, relax, and listen to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life will inspire, motivate, and empower you. Live your best life now. Listen, learn, think, and decide. Change your attitude, change your life. And now, here's your host, Joan Herman.
Welcome to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. I'm Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life brings you interviews with some of the most inspirational and influential people in the world. It's our goal to educate and empower you so you can live your best life now. Thank you for taking time for yourself, and thank you for letting us be a part of your life. We have another great show for you today. According to the World Health Organization, 1 out of 3 women and 1 out of 2 men will face a cancer diagnosis. Today's guest, Ty Bollinger, takes this personally, having lost his entire family to cancer. Ty refused to accept the notion that chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery were the most effective treatments available for cancer patients. He began a quest to learn all that he could about alternative cancer treatments and the medical industry. Ty is the author of The Truth About Cancer, in which he shares knowledge to protect, treat, and in some cases save our lives or the lives of those we love. His documentary miniseries, The Truth About Cancer, A Global Quest, has received over 5 million views to date. Welcome, Ty. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thank you so much, Joan. I'm really looking forward to our conversation today.
Well, Ty, from the first time I saw The Truth About Cancer, I knew that I wanted to have you on the show because, like you, I lost my entire family to cancer. I lost my father, my sister, and my brother, and a whole host of other relatives. So, like you, I believe that there's more to this fight. So, I really feel that this is an important topic. It's an alarming statistic, what I mentioned in the intro, that 1 out of 3 women and 1 out of 2 men alive today will face a cancer diagnosis. So in doing all of this research and on this journey, what have been some of the most surprising and or shocking things that you've learned about cancer?
Well, let me say, first of all, I'm sorry for your losses, Joan. You know, when I lost my family to cancer, mom, dad, grandmothers, grandfathers, uncles, cousins, I thought I was kind of the anomaly. But what I've learned over the last 20 years is I'm really not the anomaly. There's so many people that have lost entire families to cancer. So I'm sorry for your losses. And you're right. You mentioned the statistics. Those statistics are not just something you just made up. 1 in 3, 1 in 2. That's according to the World Health Organization. And so that was one of the most shocking things that I began to realize is that cancer is an epidemic. It's a pandemic. This is affecting everyone worldwide. But one of the things that really woke me up and really actually angered me for quite a while was that as I began to research and read about these treatments, these natural treatments for cancer and integrative treatments for cancer, as I began to learn of the stories of people that had been healed, I began to learn that they have been, over the past half century specifically, many of these treatments have been actively suppressed by the AMA and by other organizations that make money off of treating cancer in the conventional manner, which is through chemo, radiation, and surgery. And it really angered me because I understand if they want to enlighten people about the chemo, radiation, and surgery. I understand if they want to push towards that because that is the protocol that is taught in medical school. But when you actually go out of your way to run doctors out of the country, to put people in jail that are using treatments that are not necessarily FDA approved, to me, then it gets to another level because I really believe that my parents and other relatives, they literally died because they didn't have access to these treatments. They didn't have this knowledge, which is being actively suppressed. And that's really the biggest shocker to me that really angered me and woke me up and made me want to get this truth out to the masses that you do actually have options.
Ty, through this show, I've had the opportunity to interview a number of people that were at one point stage 4 cancer patients told to go home and put their affairs in order. And here they are after changing everything about their life, everything, what they ate, where they lived, their spirituality, everything, alternative treatments. They're alive 20, 30 years later. And some of them have told me they have run into their doctors that treated them, the doctors who told them to go home and get ready to pass away. And I asked the question, when these doctors see you alive, do any of them ever say to you, what did you do so I can pass this knowledge on to my patients? And every single one of them has told me, no, they've never said, what do you attribute your success to? They don't want to know about this.
Yeah, that's something also, Joan, that really does anger me. And I've heard the same story from literally hundreds of people over the years that have been diagnosed as terminal, and which I hate that diagnosis, by the
Right.
way. Doctors aren't God. They have no idea how long you have. You don't have an expiration date on your toe. But you're diagnosed as terminal, and they did the chemo, they did the radiation, whatever, and they went and started doing some natural treatments, started actually getting their body back in order, because cancer is a whole body disease, and voila, years later they're alive, way past that diagnosis of death date, and they went back and they talked to their oncologist or whatever, their general practitioner or whatever the doctor was, and over the years I've literally only had one person out of hundreds that told me their doctor wanted to know what they did. And that really angers me, because the doctors are supposed to be using any method possible to heal their patients. And if you've got a patient that was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer, which I know many were diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer, which is a death sentence if you go chemo, radiation, and surgery, and they went with something natural and they're alive a decade or two later, you would think that doctor would be just chomping at the bit to find out, what did you do? I want to share this with all my other stage 4 pancreatic cancer patients. But that's not the case.
So, Ty, what have you learned about the underlying politics of cancer? I know you mentioned it briefly, but who has this vested interest in keeping us sick, and why do you believe that's the case?
Well, there's a vested interest in keeping us sick by the medical, what I call the medical industry, and also by the pharmaceutical industry, because they're making money on treating symptoms rather than getting to the root cause of disease. So if you look at the way that we look at cancer today, Joan, we look at cancer as being the tumor, right? And so if you can shrink the tumor, or if you can cause it to not grow as fast as it was growing before, it depends upon how they measure success, you've deemed to have a successful cancer treatment. You are deemed to have put that tumor in remission. If you shrink a tumor by X percentage over X period of time, then the oncologist says, yeah, your cancer's in remission. Well, the problem is, Joan, that is not the cancer. That's a symptom that something's gone wrong in your body. And drugs, pharmaceutical companies, the industry, the American Medical Association with their protocols to treat cancer, they are focused on shrinking a tumor, and that's the problem, that's just a symptom. And so as a result of that fundamental flaw in the way that we look at cancer, then we have drugs to treat tumors. We have radiation to shrink tumors. We have chemotherapy to shrink tumors. We have surgery to cut out tumors. And so there's tons and tons, billions and billions of dollars being made on treating these symptoms, and people are getting very wealthy off of treating these symptoms. And they're not all bad people. I'm not saying that. That's just what they've been taught. That's all they know.
Right.
But the industry itself is getting rich off of treating symptoms, where from a naturalistic approach, if we looked at cancer as a whole body disease, which you mentioned earlier, people that have healed from cancer, they look at it as a whole body disease, and they look at mind, body, spirit. What are you taking in? What are you breathing in? What water are you drinking? What toxins are you getting in your body? If you correct that whole body disease, then you've got a chance at curing it long term, or putting it into remission long term. But that's the issue, is that these pharmaceutical companies, the way that the AMA structures treatment protocols, the actual education that doctors get while in medical school, it's all focused on taking a symptom and treating it with a drug. Treating a symptom is a very lucrative approach.
And Ty, your family history, my family history, what many people believe is that someone like you or someone like me, we're destined to become cancer patients. And that's what a lot of people feel, that, well, it's my genetic predisposition, and this is just going to be my future. But as epigenetics has been showing us, we have control over those things through the things that you just mentioned: mind, body, soul, spirit, what we eat, what we drink, the air we breathe, how we think. All of those things are within our control to go on and prevent ever being a cancer patient. What else have you learned are really great preventative methods so that we never hear those words, you have cancer?
Well, that's a great question, Joan. And you're right, epigenetics, which is the science of studying the genetic expression, what factors cause our genes to actually express. Because, you've lost your family to cancer, I've lost my family to cancer, and we're told, we've been scared. People that lose their family to cancer have been scared by the medical industry that you are going to get cancer. You better watch out because you got bad genes, right? You got terrible genes. You got no hope. And the reality is that even the American Cancer Society, on their own website, it's a PDF document called Cancer Facts and Figures, they state that only 5 to 10% of cancers have a genetic link. The rest of them are caused by environmental causes, environmental toxicity, exposure to things that we shouldn't be exposed to, food, water, whatever it might be, but these are things that we take into our bodies, not our genetics. So it's good to remember that, especially for people that have lost family members to cancer. Don't be caught in a state of fear thinking that you have bad genes and there's nothing you can do, because epigenetics tells us that even if you are in that 5 to 10% of family that has a genetic cancer, you still can influence the expression of those genes by the science of epigenetics. And I think that dovetails into your question. What are ways that we can prevent cancer? It is through watching what we have control over, what we eat, what we drink, what we're exposed to, because those are epigenetic switches. As a matter of fact, a lot of science has come out over the last specifically 5 years that I've been reading of how certain herbs and foods are literally epigenetic switches. Take, for instance, turmeric, right? Where we've all heard of turmeric. Well, it acts as an epigenetic switch and can actually turn off and turn on cancer genes in our body, depending upon if it's a good gene or a bad gene. It literally can be cancer protective against the expression of this DNA in our body that might have a propensity to go towards cancerous. Turmeric can turn off those switches. And that's just one of many, many medicinal herbs, plants, foods that can have an epigenetic effect. Also, we look at water. This seems so basic. What kind of liquid are you putting into your body? Now, especially in light of the fact that the body's over anywhere between 70 and 85% water, and the blood is over 9% water, it does seem important, Joan, doesn't it, that we would want to put a quality liquid in our body. Even if you're drinking pure water, you need to look at what's in the water, because now we know that chlorine, fluoride, lead, arsenic, these other contaminants that are in a lot of municipal water supplies, they literally can have epigenetic effects on the body. So I think maybe the takeaway, Joan, is take control over what you have control over from an epigenetic perspective, and don't put into your body things that we know now, based upon scientific research, can have epigenetic triggers to cancer cells. These are all things that are so basic, but I guess it comes down to the difference, Joan, between knowledge and wisdom, right? We can have this knowledge, but if we don't act on it, we're not being very wise. I admonish people, be wise with this knowledge.
Ty, we're out of time in today's show, but Ty will be coming back next week to talk about cancer treatment options. Once again, Ty's book is The Truth About Cancer, What You Need to Know About Cancer's History, Treatment, and Prevention. And if you'd like to get more information about the book or about Ty or anything else about this topic, you can visit his website, thetruthaboutcancer.com. Ty, thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to having you come back next week.
Thank you, Joan. I've really enjoyed the show.
We'll be right back. Hi, this is Joan Herman, host of Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Did you know that Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life has a free monthly digital magazine that can be read online or emailed to your inbox? Every month, nationally recognized leaders in their field provide information to educate, inspire, and motivate you. We believe in a holistic approach to life, incorporating mind, body, and spirit. Check out a copy of Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life 24/7. Visit cyacyl.com and be sure to tell your friends. Thank you for joining us. I hope you found the show informative. At Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life, we believe that knowledge is power. Take what you've learned, apply it, and live your best life now. Remember that the information provided are the opinions of our guests and should never replace the advice of a professional who knows your personal situation. If you'd like more information, visit our website, cyacyl.com. While on the site, listen to past shows on demand, read our digital magazine, take part in the book club, check out our team, and be sure to follow the show on social media. Until next time, this is Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in.